It's time for the Northwoods Cooking Show. Starring Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, the troublemaking dog.
Hello and welcome back to the show. Now we're going to take and do another recipe, another muffin one. It's going to be the oatmeal muffins. And they're really good too. But Callie's got to say hello, don't you, Callie? Get out here and say hello, Callie's. What? Looking for it. Oh, sweet. Oh yeah. She can sit pretty too. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, she wants to say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Say hello to all the viewers. Say hi. Yeah. So now we're going to make the oatmeal cookies, or muffins. And first of all, what we need is 1 cup of the quick cooking oats and 1 cup of buttermilk. We mix those two together and we cover this up and we let these sit for half an hour. We want the oats to get soft and soak up all the milk. So we've done this before, and so these are going to be ready to mix together now. So first of all, we have that setting down, and for our dry ingredients we're going to be making in this larger bowl. And for that we need 1 cup of flour. And remember now to measure off your ingredients level, because any excess is going to ruin your recipe. Too much flour is going to get too dry on this. You want to make sure you have it level. That's 1 cup of flour. What out there? Heard a growl. Uh-oh. 1 cup of flour, and we need 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And remember too now, if your baking powder has been sitting in your cupboard for quite a while, stir it up. And level that off with the tin on the back here. That's 1 teaspoon. And always check your expiration dates on the bottom of your can. This is good until December 23rd of 2011. So we're still good. I go through a lot, so my expiration dates hardly ever occur. But if you have this sitting in your cupboard for the longest time and you don't use it that often, mix it up, because the top part of that baking powder and your soda also is stale and it's not very active. So if you mix it up, it's going to get the chemicals more active again. So that was 1 teaspoon of baking powder and a ½ teaspoon of baking soda. And the same thing, just always take and mix it up a little bit before you use it. I always do that anyway, even if I know it's good and it's not expired. I still take and mix it up, just because you know how long it's been sitting there in between. It just freshens it up. And then we need a ¼ teaspoon of salt. And like I always say, I always use kosher salt for all my cooking and baking. It's so much nicer and has less sodium than iodized salt. And what I've discovered too is I like to, because I always have the box of salt and it's so hard to pour it, just pour it into a little container, put a cover on it, stick that in your cupboard. And then whenever you need to use it, take off the cover, but it's so much easier to grab it. I discovered this when I was doing my canning and I needed like a ½ teaspoon of salt in every single jar. Well, when I'm canning 2 or 3 dozen jars of pickles or relish or whatever, it's kind of frustrating to take and measure out a ½ teaspoon out of the box and go along the way. It drives you nuts, it's too crazy. Just pour it into a little container like this and cover it, and it's so much easier to get at. And you can use it throughout the period of whenever you're cooking. It's just much more convenient to use. Okay, now we got all that dry ingredients. We have the flour, baking powder, soda, and salt. And you want to mix this up with a wire whisk, so this is very well incorporated. And in our other bowl, we're going to mix in our wet ingredients. And for that, we need a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. And then we need a ½ cup of brown sugar. Now see, I always keep my brown sugar in the same little plastic bags they come in. And then I just save my twisties and use that to seal up the bag to keep them drying out. Remember, I just save a whole bunch of my twisties I got in here in my cupboard, in my drawer here. But you can put these into like Tupperware containers too and seal the lid, and that'll work just as well. But just keep it in the bag and just save those little twisties, and they come in handy. And that keeps your brown sugar from drying out. And that's 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Just twist it tight to get the air out. And twist a little twisty on them, and there you go. Then we need 1 egg in that too, in that mixture. So we have oil, brown sugar, and egg. And then we'll mix this up. You want to get that egg incorporated in there very well. So mix this up pretty heavily. You want to beat this up really good. This part you could probably use your electric mixer on, but that would be it. Because you don't want to use it on the muffin mix itself, because that'll take and overactivate your gluten and your flour, and it will dry out and toughen up your muffins, and we don't want that. We want a light, fluffy, moist muffin. But you want to mix this up together, brown sugar and egg, oil. The oil, I find, it really makes a difference in a lot of your muffins when you go to bake it. If you find a recipe with oil in it, it's great, rather than butter, because it gives a lot more moisture into your muffin. Okay, now we're going to mix all 3 of these together. These all get put together in the dry mixture. So we have our oatmeal here. Notice it's like a paste now, because it absorbed all of that milk. And then we pour in the wet ingredients. And this, like with all our quick breads now, we only want to mix it until all the dry ingredients are moistened. We don't want to over mix this, so just be careful. This is going to take a few quick strokes, and that's it. Let it go. Don't over mix it. And to our muffin pans, we're going to take and grease these up. And like I said before, this is just like when doing your quick breads. You only want to grease the bottom of the pans, of the cups. You don't want to have going up all the way to the sides like that. Because like I said before, we want, you want that sides to be dry, so that as the batter rises, it clings to the side and then it rounds up on top of the muffin. See? Nice and round. These are the blueberry ones. And if we grease the sides, the batter has nothing to cling to as it goes up. So when it gets to the top, then it smooths out. If it was dry and got to the top, it gets a little crusty on the edges there, so then it starts mounding up. And if it didn't have the grease, if it did have the grease, when it gets to the top like that, it just smooths out. That's how you get those flat looking muffins. And the temperature helps a lot too, because you want to make sure you have a hot oven. So my oven's already preheated at 375 degrees, and we're going to put these into our muffin cups. And I just use an ice cream scooper. They work best. These work best for your cookies too. They are so wonderful. And we'll just plop these right into our containers. And remember, you only want like about 2/3 full. Not too much. Because too much and it's going to go out all over. It's going to spread out too. So you got to be careful. And if you don't have enough batter for all your muffin cups, take the remaining cups and fill with water. You don't want to leave them empty. The reason being behind that is because you want the heat to be distributed evenly throughout the whole pan. And if you got empty holes sitting there, then it's going to absorb more heat and take away heat from the other muffins, so that they bake unevenly. Some will be burnt on one side or darker on the other side, browner on the other. You know what I'm saying? And so if you have any empty tins, like I do here now, I've got 2 empty ones. Just put some water into those, and that way they're filled and the heat helps to distribute around the whole complete tin. I have trouble speaking. It's not that. It's that I can't say what I'm thinking fast enough. I know people who can talk who talk just a mile a minute and they don't make sense at all either. But what I'm thinking, what I want to say, I just can't put into words fast enough. So I'm always stumbling and stuttering. Of course, when I was in 1st grade too, I had a huge stuttering problem. Oh my God. I had to go to special speech classes when I was in 4th grade because my stuttering was really, really bad in 1st grade. It was just terrible. I think I know what that childhood thing is all about, but that's a different story. But yeah, I had speech problems when I was a little kid. And to think when I was a huge stutterer, like I said in 1st grade, huge stutterer. But when I grew up in high school, I was on the debate and forensics team, public speaking, all that stuff for school, for competition, for forensics and debate and all that, and public speaking. But yet, here I was, a problem child in grade school who could barely speak at all. Isn't that odd or unique? Okay, these are in the preheated oven now at 375. And we'll reset this timer for 20 to 25 minutes. I always go to 20 minutes. Any recipe that you try, always set it for the minimum amount of time, because you can always put the product back in and bake longer. Once you put it in there and you set the time and it's done, it's done. But if you bake it past it, you can't go back. You can't uncook it. So whenever you get a recipe and it calls for like 20, 25 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, always use the minimum time. Check your product, especially if it's baked goods. Use your toothpick to stick in, see if it comes out clean. Or for pies, you use a knife, comes out clean, you know, all that kind of testing. Always use your minimum amount first of timing. That way it saves you from having to redo the whole thing all over again if you burn it from overcooking. Just to be careful. So we'll check back in about 20 minutes and see what it looks like. Thanks and welcome back to the show. This is the part of the show where we answer questions from you, the viewers. So if you have any questions for Miss Callie or myself on cooking or baking or canning or gardening, feel free to write us at the Northwoods Cooking Show at yahoo.com, and we'll try and get back and see if we can answer your question as soon as possible. Callie, let's see who wrote us this week. Get out here.
Who let the dog out? Who let the dog out?
What's that?
Who let the dog out?
What that? See, she gets tweets when we answer the mail. Yeah, get over here. Is it pretty? Yeah. Ooh, look at that. See? She says real pretty for her tweet. Yeah, she gets a tweet for answering the mail. Yeah, she helps out a lot. Let's see who wrote us this week, Callie. Dear Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, I just thought out a pound of hamburger, and I don't know what to do with it. Do you have any suggestions? Signed, Nick of Plymouth, Minnesota. Oh, there go the birdies. Oh, 3 o'clock. Birdies. Never hear those birds at all during the day because it's so noisy around here. But when it's quiet, when I'm taping the show, you can always hear the birdie alarm clock go off. Anyway, Nick, let's see. A pound of hamburger. Oh, there's so many things you can do. It's endless. First of all, you can brown it off and drain it. So you got the brown hamburger. Next, let's go to your cupboard and see what you got. Barbecue sauce. Throw in some barbecue sauce just until moistened. Heat that up. Add a couple of diced of green pepper and onions. You got barbecues instantly. Throw those on a bun. There's your meal. You can take, after it's drained off, add a can of cream of mushroom soup. Mix those two together. That is just a great little hot dish by itself. If you put it on some noodles, you add a little sour cream to it, you got like a beef stroganoff. It's just perfect. Another thing you could do is you could make up, oh, let's see, God, there's just too many things to, you could throw in a can of stewed tomatoes, bring that to a boil, add in about a half a cup of elbow macaroni, cover it, let it simmer for about 20 minutes until the pasta is all absorbed, and you got an instant goulash right there. Throw in a little frozen packet of mixed vegetables if you'd like to too. That's really good. And add a little, of course, salt and pepper, a little oregano, a little marjoram, just to give it a little more Italian taste to it. A little garlic powder or salt in there. But garlic powder, not salt. There's always too much salt in your canned tomato products anyway. A little garlic powder would be great in there too. And you got just an instant hot dish right there. This is a lot of things you can do with the hamburger. If it's thawed out, you could take and make meatballs out of it. Take the raw hamburger, add a little bit of instant oatmeal to it, a little salt and pepper, a little diced onion to it. You can roll those up into little balls, brown them off. You got meatballs right there. Throw those into spaghetti sauce and cook off your pasta on the side. This is an endless things to do with your hamburger. I hope these tips were just a few little ideas to get to you. So next time when you have a pound of hamburger, you don't know what to do with it, let's just look in your cupboards and see what you got available. There's a lot of things you can do. I hope that answers your question there. And again, if you guys have any questions to ask Callie and I, feel free to write us at the Northwoods Cooking Show at yahoo.com. Well, Callie, that's all we have for this week. Say goodbye. Get out here and say goodbye, girl. Come here.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Get out here and say goodbye to everybody. Say bye-bye. Say bye. Wait, bye. Yeah. Say bye.